got the knowledge in store. Oh yeah, Alan Ng, watch him talk up a flare. Movie and TV show reviews that you need. Film threats on fire, we're planting the seeds. Film threat, we keep it real. Dive into the stories, you know the deal. Turn the phone, it's the place to be. Movie lovers gather round. 1, 2, 3. From blockbusters to indie gold. Oh yeah, Chris and Alan break the mold. Pop your corn, turn down the lights. Get ready to groove through movie nights. Film threat, we keep it real. Dive into the stories, you know the deal. Turn the phone, it's the place to be. Movie lovers gather round. 1, 2, 3. Grab your popcorn.
Today on the show, Justine Bateman speaks. The outspoken actress, creator, writer, director has a lot to say about modern Hollywood. She will be here in 30 minutes from now, and let's talk to her. Also, some news stories about AI, awards events, and more. Alan Ng is waiting in the wings to join me. He's dancing he's dancing in the background. Why is he doing that? This is crazy. Let's get going, guys. It's time. It's time to start the show.
Alan.
I figured I'd go old school.
There we go.
Yeah. How do you like that background, huh?
What's behind it? What's in that white spot?
That's
there?
what's behind it. It says it's a little we have diverse opinions. There you go. I'll
White
go classic.
White versus Asian, yes.
Classic. Big show today. Justine Bateman. I have said she's my spirit animal. She will be here today to talk to us in under 30 minutes. We have a lot to do before then. I have fun things to share with you and the audience. So let's see who's
I'm
here.
just going over my questions, wondering which one will cause her to rage and storm off.
Well, I have topics. I have links open. I have a lot to say. You know, she made a movie that was at South by Southwest called Violet, which stars Olivia Munn. That's right. She made a movie starring Olivia Munn. So that's maybe we have that connection. I don't know, but let's get started. Alan, if you would.
Yes. It's from Syntech, waiting for Justine. We all are. And he also says, Gen X is the best gen. I said what I said. You are right. Slim Jim 491. I'm rewatching Psych. I just saw the episode with Justine. Can't wait to hear today's convo. And Josh says, just in time for Based Man.
Hell yeah.
Man. George Kaplan 11. Really looking forward to this interview.
Oh, super chats here.
Yeah, there we go. Matthew Hammond for 499. What does Justine think happened to the studio system? Did they bring in Ivy Leaguer? Yeah, why don't you say that?
Matthew, we will save this for when she is here. We're going to have a good long conversation. And then we'll get to as many supers as we can. Her time is limited, but we're starting with yours. Pilgrim Media for $2. Justine Bateman was good in Californication. Awesome.
Didn't realize she was.
And Lord Thoth reminds us, like, share, subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. Sign up as a member. Join us on X, Discord, Rumble, and Instagram. Buy our merch at shop.filmthreat.com. That's right. Join us there. Get a shirt like I have here. And Funeral for a Franchise shirts will be sold till the end of the year. All kinds of stuff at the shop. There you go. Including our wicked awesome shirts, glasses. It's awesome. So thank you for that. Now, something fun that I participated in was I saw Christopher Nolan interview Ridley Scott at the DGA. It was a really fascinating conversation. I recorded the whole thing. I was there. It was about 30 minutes. I'm posting it for members only today. If you're a member of the channel, we post videos. Alan and I are fortunate to go to a lot of events that have Q&As, whatnot. And I just sit in the front row and film them. Sometimes I get second or third row. I'm not going to say my camera work is not great. If Justine, you know, if she critiqued it, I'm not getting a passing grade, but it was really great conversation. And at the end, he revealed a new project with Paul Mescal. He talked about architecture and the Roman Empire. In spite of what you think about the movie, it was really amazing conversation. Two giants, if you will, talking about film. There's a great on one of the it's the Dark Knight trilogy box set. Chris Nolan did an interview with Richard Donner because he modeled Batman Begins off of the 1978 Superman that Dick Donner directed. And he wanted to talk to him as kind of a, he does. I mean, Chris Nolan rarely does interviews. He's only when he's sort of pushing his projects, but to see him talk to another filmmaker, he really is. Chris Nolan has evolved into modern Steven Spielberg, really tapping into our mythos, telling timeless stories that have something to say, advancing cinema. So to see these two on stage was amazing. One of the things that Ridley said that really struck me was how he works is he has like 40 DOHs, which is HODs, heads of department. And these 40 tells them talk to each other. When they come with problems, he says, talk to each other. And then he keeps them kind of competitive. And that's why it's like, whatever you think, I think the biggest flaw with Gladiator 2 was the script. A lot of it, but
and the CG.
And the CG, right. But look, the fact that he's making films in well into his 80s is remarkable. And clearly Chris Nolan has a lot of respect. So I will get that posted EOD. That's end of day. So check that out. Any thoughts, Alan?
Yeah, actually, did he talk at all about critic response to Gladiator 2 or criticism?
Did not come up.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
At all. Did not come up. But I feel so lucky to go to these things. So I went with a friend. We had a great time. And I prefer when they have a reception where you can actually meet them and say, at least get like one good question in.
Yeah.
So I have this ongoing conversation with Denis Villeneuve. I could patch together into a podcast maybe. But these are great. This was one not to miss.
I want to hear your question to Ridley of why there were no farts in Gladiator.
No, that was Robert Eggers.
No. Or why no one went to the bathroom.
You were there when I asked that question.
I know.
He kind of grimaced. He didn't laugh, and he kind of grimaced.
I thought he took it in stride.
He gave it a real answer. He said it's an it's an adaptation. Okay, it's an adaptation. It's not.
Yeah.
The others were original.
Yeah. Eventually, I'll get the Q&A with James Mangold and the crew from a complete unknown.
I want to see. The thing is, I have a selfish I want to watch it.
Yeah. Fortunately, it's more than just. I have to do more work to it other than
don't do any work to it. Just upload.
No, I'm saying I gotta get the titles and all the descriptions and stuff written.
You know what? You upload it. I'll do all that. You just upload it. I'll put it in drafts. I'll take care of it.
But what was funnier?
I like to help my friend.
What stuck me was I like James Mangold. I like a good portion of the movies he makes, but then he has the blemish from last year, and you feel for him because it's like you feel like he wasn't really the one responsible for that project, unlike the other ones he's involved in. Like just the love and just the love he had for the subject matter in A Complete Unknown came across in the movie.
We'll upload it and I will do the
Okay.
titling and everything. I'll take care of it for you. Couple quick supers, and I have something to share, a surprise.
Jean Hu.
Please, Alan, if you would.
Jean Hu for 742. Is it just me, or does the animation in The War of the Rohirrim look like a cross between anime and a music video?
I've seen it. It's at times phenomenal, epic scenes, and at times garbage. Yeah. It's inconsistent, but yeah, it's we'll talk on Friday. You've seen it, Alan?
Yeah, well, okay, I've seen the first 10 minutes and I got lost. But I will say what watching the first 10 minutes, it felt like it was a Warner Brothers television show.
Yeah.
You know, that's and I think they called it anime to kind of elevate the quality. And I'm not saying that I think Warner Brothers does great animation for television. I'm just not sure it's cinematic.
Yeah. Right here,
Nick X Herring, married for 9 months. My pint glass finally arrived. Cheers.
This pint glass is amazing. For those that haven't seen, it's the I don't know if you can see that real well.
Yeah, we can see it.
The pint glass, I love it. I love mine too. I use it to drink water for the most part. Thank you, Nick X Herring. Okay. Moving on. Another topic. Guess what?
What?
The award this 2024 nominees are here. It is on the Film Threat website with links to every single review. I think we have one more movie that needs to be reviewed.
It should have just posted.
That's awesome. So the links to every film that's been reviewed are up on the site. The link to get tickets is up on the site. I will share this link in the private chat for people to check out. Let's go here and look at some of the nominees. And I have a treat for you, Alan. I have a treat. But tell me what I mean, look, I have not seen all these movies, by the way.
Yeah.
I've seen many of them, but not all of them. So here's a little story about the awards, links to get tickets. Here's some of the nominees. I mean, Abruptio, which we've talked about a lot, that's in there. I have the DVD of it. Disturbance in the Force, the documentary about the Star Wars holiday special. I mean, these are some really great indie movies. Anything pop out to you that you want to? American Homeboy, very good socially relevant documentary. And many of these filmmakers will be there in attendance. Thoughts, Alan?
Yeah, no, I've seen probably half of these movies.
Well, and by the way, we should note this is a collective list put together by other people like Bobby Lapierre, Bradley Gibson, other editors at Film Threat, everyone's Michael Talbot Haynes. Many of the writers that contribute say, hey, we have to pay attention to this one. I already see a mistake. I have to fix that thing. But look at these things. Wineville's on there. Yeah. Hundreds of Beavers. Amazing. So there's gift bags, fun stuff. You get the whole look at these photos from the event.
Yeah.
I love it. Cocktails, gift bag, the whole awards experience, as it were. This is like my favorite category. Indie movie made for less than the contents of an Oscar gift bag, under $100,000. So, which actually is a lot of these movies. And then we have a whole other wave of nominees to be announced. I, for one, can't wait. Come on the red carpet, hang with these filmmakers, hang with Alan and I. We will show you a good time. Yeah. Now I have something to share, and we'll put the link in there so you can look for that. I have a little something to share. It's a video. This is a rough.
Oh no!
Because you watch live, you're gonna see the rough trailer. This isn't finished of the teaser trailer for this year's awards that was just sent to me by Glanuccio. Would you like to see it, Alan?
Yes, I would.
Okay, let's see. Where is it?
Yeah.
It's I can't find it now. Oh, there it is. Wait, no, there it is.
The anticipation.
Now the teaser, it's not done, So let's just, bear with me on this.
This was a film that we shot on a $30K budget.
We're not going to get Oscars. We're not going to get Independent Spirit Awards. We don't have the huge budgets to get those awards.
While Hollywood continues to churn out sequels and franchise factory films, exciting and original indie movies of all kinds are being released in theaters, on demand, and on streaming, and we're here to celebrate them.
So crazy. Thank you so much.
I'm gonna fill this with Mountain Dew.
First they ignore you, and then they laugh at you, and then they fight you, and then you win.
You guys help everyone in this room push the dream a little bit longer.
I think that Film Threat and Award This really are champions, true champions of independent film, which we've seen here.
Well, there you go. That's what you think.
You need to keep it just to show how far you've come, how much you've transformed literally a year ago.
Before someone else says that, I'm going to say Howie Long wants his hair cut back. I looked like Frankenstein with that hair. What was going on? But it truly is a good time.
Yeah.
And I encourage you all to go. And the tickets are on sale now. Go to thefreedacinema.org. I'm going to show you where you can get tickets. So, because we have a limited number of tickets on sale for the event, and the link for what is this? Okay, yeah, here it is. Here's the link. It's at thefreedacinema.org. It's Sunday, February 2nd in Santa Ana, California. The only award show, by the way, anyone can go. If you can afford a ticket, and there are levels of tickets, but we keep it cheap. Mm-hmm. It's like, going to an IMAX movie. It's a little, maybe a little higher than a regular ticket, but not much. And you get a lot for your money. So please join us.
If you like Mexican food, there's a lot of it around.
Around the theater. There are two restaurants. There's a German restaurant around the corner that has great bratwurst. And there's a Mexican restaurant that I think is great.
And there's one of those dining halls, where they have like little pop-ups inside of it. And also there's parking. There's a parking structure. So
the one thing, when it comes to award shows, if it has good parking, I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be there for sure. So there you go. So come to the awards. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And let's not forget, it all began on a couch in Hollywood with a coffee table in the shape of an audio cassette. And we did it during the Academy Awards that first year, kind of an interlude.
It was we didn't know what we wanted to do. We knew we wanted to compete with the Oscars. Bold decision. So what we did was it was two things. It was a watch. I think it's still on our channel.
Yeah, it was a watch party. And
so we were watching the Oscars, and then when they went to commercial break, we give awards out to indie movies. And then go back to, and then we'd comment as we watch the Oscars live and, goof on how ridiculous it's become.
And I believe two of our best picture winners showed up on the couch.
Yeah, we actually had filmmakers show up. So, it was a lot of fun. All right, let's get into a story here. This will relate to our next guest. WME, that's William Morris Entertainment. William Morris, it's an agent. Yeah, entertainment. Has an AI strategy focusing on tech partnerships. What does that mean? Let me bring up the story from the Wrap, because this will affect a lot of things. I'll basically, the gist of this is, and I'll have you read the first part of the story, Alan. Let me put the link in the description. So
I got it on
your own computer. Okay, you have it. Okay, that's good. The gist of this is, it's like it says WME's AI strategy focuses on tech partnerships over CAA's digital vault. What is that? What they have in the vault, they're basically talking about IP. If you would read, Alan, starting with the first paragraph there.
Sorry, they're making me log into the wrap. Hold on.
Okay.
Hopefully.
but-
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Yeah, do you have an unlocked version or?
Okay, I put the link. Can I put the link in there?
Yeah,
My link
so-
works.
Yeah.
I've got the first 3 paragraphs.
Okay, that's not the link.
Okay.
And that's not the link.
Let me start. As Hollywood, can you just read the first part while Lori finds the?
Okay, here we go.
Just
As
read the
Hollywood
first part.
grapples, okay. AI is here. It's going to have an effect on every single industry, well beyond entertainment. WME head of digital strategy Chris Jacquemin tells the Wrap. As Hollywood grapples with the rising threat of AI exploitation, WME is taking a different approach than its rival CAA, emphasizing technology, partnerships, and legislative efforts over building its own digital vault. While CAA is capturing digital likenesses and voice samples of its clients and then using AI company Veritone to store the assets, William Morris is outsourcing those 2 roles to different AI companies. We are not a technology company. Yep.
Pause for a second. While CAA is capturing digital likenesses and voice samples of its clients. So CAA, by the way, probably the biggest, one of the biggest, if not the biggest agency representing some of the biggest clients, like Tom Hanks, very famous people, all repped by CAA. Okay. They're basically taking stars and actors and archiving their asset, which is what? Face, voice. If you saw that movie Here, which Alan and I recently reviewed, and we were both kind of mixed on it, mixed to negative. This is what they're doing. You are going to see now the classic celebs, maybe people like John Wayne, James Dean. James Dean was recently, his likeness was going to be used for a film. I don't think that project ever happened, but their conceit was they were going to use his likeness and license the likeness from his family. So I just want to make it clear in one sentence this is the stuff that Justine has been talking about. Do you have the story, Alan?
I have the link, but it's not loading. Let me try it again.
Okay. And by the way, your audio is still dropping out.
Okay.
That problem we were trying to solve.
Yeah.
We can put a pin in this until
okay. I have it.
Okay, great. If you would continue beyond that paragraph.
Okay, so he's saying that we're not a technology company. We're not trying to be a technology company from William Morris. The agency has developed a 3-pillar strategy focused on partnerships with AI companies for protection, comprehensive audits of business deals, and legislative advocacy through their government relations division. Coming into this area, you can't really fight technology without having technology in support of what you're doing. William Morris conducted an audit of business deals in each of its different disciplines, all through the lens of AI, and tried to determine what it needed to protect clients from. The William Morris executive said, some of the stuff is obvious, some of the stuff is not obvious. And it mentions the film, their partnership with Lotto and Vermilio to help protect clients from unauthorized use of their likenesses. Lotto bills itself as an online protection of public figures with technology that allows clients to provide photos from different angles and voice recordings, which the company then uses to search for and request removal of unauthorized content. And Vermilio's Trace ID platform aims to track and authenticate images of clients, allowing them to either remove content or potentially monetize its use. So the rest of it is just basically stating that AI is here and that they're trying to get ahead of themselves.
Yeah, it's they know what's coming and they're trying to jump on it. So there you go.
Okay,
I've
and then
highlighted.
I read the Justine Bateman portion of it.
Please.
Okay, so not everyone in Hollywood shares the agency's embrace of AI technology. At the Raps Grill conference, actor and filmmaker Justine Bateman warned that AI will burn down the business. And she co-founded Credo 23, the 2025 film festival that won't allow movies that use AI to be submitted. Yeah, that's...
Well, we will ask her about it when she arrives. We've got some comments here. Let's go to our starred comments about this topic.
Yes. All right. From Ololi Ukwi, legislative efforts equals more special treatment and privilege us plebs don't get to exercise. Exactly. They're protecting their clients, but they're not protecting the average person. You know, that it takes abuse against a celebrity to call attention to these AI problems, these deep fakes, while the rest of us have been suffering through it for years.
Right. And I mean, there's already, have you seen the things with AI girlfriend or AI boyfriend?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's not even it's not a real person, and you can chat with them.
Yep. Good. Growing healthy people every day. All right. Let's see. Clarence Markwell. This isn't going to be used in film. It's for the future of AI generated VR holodeck experiences. Yeah. Star Trek is just around the corner. Let's see.
Got some more comments here.
Yeah. All right. Red French Moon. At this point, except for indie movies, some and only a few main Hollywood here and there, I am just hoping for Japan to kick out localizers and keep Western investors to a minimum. Okay. Solomon Thornton. I always wondered how far James Dean's career would have been if he did not pass. Yeah. Well, do we need to answer the question? That's the thing. Olaliukui, on the other hand, a non-AI organization that's strictly voluntary is no worse than all organic farm co-ops. Chuck McDaniel. I dreamed of Justine Bateman a few nights ago, and it was a good one. Should we save that one?
No, we're not. We're going to be very polite, folks. We want her to come back. So there you go.
Okay. So the let me. So this one, go for it, Chris. Ask her to prom.
I'll save that for her.
Okay.
What?
It's all right.
No. Don't put that up now, please. Save it for when she's here.
And stop pressing it.
I was not pressing it.
I was not pressing it.
Yeah. So there you go.
Okay.
And Chuck says it wasn't sexual. Okay, that's cool.
Of course it wasn't.
How about this?
All right. Patrick Lemire asks, when will they download writer/screenwriter stems and write new Tolkien from the mind of J.R.R. Tolkien? They do an analog version of this with Tom Clancy.
You're kidding.
Yeah, I mean, that's what AI does. You could upload the work of an author and then write stories from that author's voice.
Well, there you are.
Yeah. Yay. Seed, are you trying to tell us to be on our best behavior? Yes.
Why do you have an extra U in the word behavior?
He might be British or from some other country that likes letters. Crispy, what if Justine's into it? She strikes me as a pretty cool cat. Yeah, ask her to prom. Just do it.
I will put that up as a goof, but knee pain, better behavior.
Better behavior.
Well, there you go. Better look. She's. I mean, one of the things she stated was that she's tired of walking on eggshells.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't want to walk on eggshells anymore. Because I think part of the problem is this new generation, so to speak, care a lot about their feelings over other things. Like one thing I think from working with me, Alan, I don't care about your feelings.
Yes. 100%.
I just want to do good work, have a good time, not worry about people's feelings. I feel like if we do that a little too much, it sets the wrong priority.
Yeah. Well, it's that adage of adversity builds character. Sometimes you need bad things to happen for you to become a better person. All right. And I will not eat the bugs or the cats or the dogs. Justine and Jason's father, Kent Bateman, directed a crazy and fun 70s horror film flick called The Headless Eyes. Great grimy grindhouse stuff worth a watch.
That's cool. Maybe we'll leave that starred and ask her about it.
Okay.
But look, I just care about good work. And also I want to be able to joke with people I work with. You know, I mean, you and I joke. What's one of my favorite things on Versus when you pop in with a little joke.
Yes, I like doing that too.
That would be an opportunity for you to tell a joke.
I know. Yeah. Tell a joke, monkey. Yeah. That's how all that works.
Yeah, it's exactly how it works.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to chat with you until she shows up here. I'm going to check and make sure she's cool. All right. Let me do that real quick. So Alan, why don't you say hi to the chat?
Okay, let's do this. Let's see. Yeah, Lori, if you could help me out here, but let's go. Whoops. ADLs24. I just want to know what Thanksgiving dinner was like at the Bateman household this year. What was the conversation between Woke Jason and Base Justine? Let's see. I think there's a question in there similar to that. Clarence Markwell. She really should have hooked up with Skippy. Yeah. What's up with that? Let's see. ADLs24. Still excited for the Chad Stahelski, Michael B. Jordan Rainbow Six film. Yeah, if they actually told the Rainbow Six story, I would be really into it. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you grab that one you just did? Here we go. Veritanuda. The older you get, the less you care about what other people think of you. Yeah, you get to know a lot more people, and it just comes storming in. Let's see. I see you back there. Well, Chris will be back, and then we'll.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Okay,
ready?
Let's do a proper introduction.
We'll take care of that later.
I'll just say this. I tweeted recently that Justine Bateman is my spirit animal because he has finally said what so many of us feel, which is we're all tired of walking on eggshells. So let's just talk to her right now. The person that has caused so much productive conversation in the industry, Justine Bateman. Hello, Justine.
Hey, it happened.
It's an honor to meet you now. My name is Chris Gore. This is Alan Ng, my colleague here at Film Threat. So great to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
We've been talking about you for well before the strike, long ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, what about?
Mostly AI. Yeah.
Oh, AI. Yeah.
AI, your posts on Instagram, social media, you have caused simply by, I don't know, going with common sense. I think that is, I don't know why it's common sense is a news item now, but apparently it is. So,
yeah, it's radical.
So how did we get to this place where something that is, it's unfortunate that I feel like certain common sense views are aligned maybe politically on one side of the aisle, which I don't agree with. I think that's, personally, I'm more of a centrist when it comes to a lot of things, but how'd you get here?
I've always been in the spot I'm in, and I think that's true for a lot of people. I think the imbalance that we witnessed or had to live through. I think a lot of us, I'll speak for myself, like I thought I was just going to burn out. I thought the sort of, we have the financial invisible hand that hems things in, and I thought this social invisible hand was going to do the same. And it just didn't. And I knew it wasn't going to end until enough individuals decided, like, no, I've had enough of this. This is ridiculous. And, we saw in the biggest national poll we can have, which is the presidential election, we saw that enough people said, I'm done. Whether they like Trump or not, I think it was a vote for, like, ending this bullshit. And that momentum's done now. They can't do what they were doing because you have to have a mob mentality momentum to keep that going.
And of course, I know a lot of people probably know you from your work as an actress, but I would go to your Wikipedia, but I don't trust Wikipedia. Honestly, I really don't.
I went through it recently, but I mean, yeah, acting was very good to me, but it's firmly in the past. It was a sort of past life, and now I'm and have been for many years a writer, director, producer, and an author, book author.
Well, I'll let you speak for yourself here. You were responding to someone. You're very polite to people. Let me just say.
Well,
more than I would probably.
He didn't. You look. If somebody's a dick, they're gonna get blocked. Even if there's a tinge of disrespect, they're fucking blocked. And I don't care. Right. I don't care what their intent was. But this guy wasn't rude. He was just saying, hey, for those of us who are in semi-retirement or something. And I was like, hey, that might be true for you. But for me, like, I feel like everything I was born for, like, only began a couple of years, or, like maybe 8 or so years ago.
Well, I really feel like I'm in my 50s as well. Mm-hmm. And I feel like 50 is the new 30. So
I think, I don't know. I just see you have two ages, like alive or dead. So if you're alive, this is your time. If you're dead, see ya.
Yeah. So you published 2 books, mm-hmm. You directed 2 shorts and 3 features, including a movie called Violet, starring Olivia Munn, who I worked with for years at G4 TV.
Oh, great.
Yeah, she was lovely. And you started, I'm really interested in this, a non-AI film festival, the Credo 23 Film Festival. I'm going to go to the website and share it with everyone. Tell us about this festival. And then I want to talk about AI.
Yeah. So you guys, when you did that one piece where you were talking about one of my posts and you went into, speculating on what could be next. Right. And mm-hmm. So, and this folds into the film festival for me. And I know there's a lot of cognitive dissonance when I say this sort of thing for people that have been following any of my anti-AI tweets. I think generative AI is one of the worst ideas society's ever had because I was going to say circumvents, but it discredits and disrespects human effort so utterly and completely. In fact, the only way they can sell you subscriptions to some of this stuff, ChatGPT and so forth, is to convince you can't do these basic things yourself, like write emails or look something up, do a little research. So I think it's one of the worst ideas we ever had. And yet there's nothing I say will stop it. I know that. And I am not even trying to stop it. But I'm going to point to it as I'm going to point to the people that are perpetrating this because they're doing it because of greed. They're doing it because this isn't a tool that you incorporate into your business. This is a means by which you can fire people. Because it's not, I was just say about film business in particular, it's not going to bring us better films. This isn't so we can get better films out into the public. So I'm pointing at it. And yet this is a time right now, generally speaking, big picture, where structures that have been in place for too long without changing have to be broken now, because the people that were in control of who were in control of the structures didn't allow the changing. So you look back at the 20th century, you look at every generation, or not generation, but every decade, there was change and movement, and you had new things happening, new music, new things in culture, new things in medicine, new things in psychology. We had things shifting and changing, right? And by about 2000, since about 2004 or 5, it just stopped. It stopped. With none of that like ebb and flow and change, no. So there's a lot of people that are invested in everything staying exactly as it is. I mean, you see it especially in politics, right? Look at the number of people that are still in office. You know, we have a little bit of like term limits as far as representation in the Senate and the House. Anyway, maybe they'll deal with that. So because these people weren't allowing things to change, it seems like the only recourse is to break them. So Trump, it appears, is being used to break the political structure so that new things can come through it. In entertainment, I think generative AI is being used to break the entertainment structure because it doesn't work anymore. Anyway, so I am excited, and I feel like I was born for what happens on the other side of that breaking in the film business, which is finally a new genre. Like, it's been delayed for, 15, 20 years. A new genre in the arts, and something that's not a return to something great from the past, like the French New Wave moment or the birth of musicals or anything like that. Something really new. I think it's going to be really raw and really human. And Credo 23 Festival, which is no AI, because nothing new is going to come through AI. New things come through humans, period, in our world. All the innovations and exciting things that have ever happened in culture, medicine, everything in the past have all come through humans. They haven't come through a machine. They're not going to come through an algorithm, especially like generative AI, which, for anyone who doesn't know, it's sort of like a blender. It can't do anything unless you put something in it. So if you want to write a book, you got to put in thousands, millions of books, and then give it a prompt. I want a book about pandas that cook. And provided you've put information about pandas and cooking in there, it'll spit out a little Frankenstein spoonful based on your prompt. But if you don't feed it anything, so it can only regurgitate the past, which is, we've been kind of doing that by hand for the last 10 years with all the reboots and sequels and all of that. So AI is the perfect next step for those that want to just regurgitate the past. And you can do it cheaper and faster. So anyway, but the new thing is going to come through humans. And so Credo 23, and other people might be doing this kind of thing too, is sort of a tunnel through which you can endure the inferno and come out the other side with your new material. So I just encourage any filmmakers, do not make content. I mean, if you're called to be a filmmaker, make the thing you're supposed to make. Like, stop kidding yourself. Don't try to make it in this business, because this particular business that we've had for 100 years is done. This structure, the things, and in that particular op-ed you guys were talking about, in Fast Company, I kind of lay out, I mean, you only have so much space for detail, but I kind of lay out like the structures that were necessary in order to have that type of business we had for 100 years. And those sorts of structures and supports don't exist anymore. It's nothing. It's not there anymore. Well, so it's better to do the new.
I can see Cooking Panda coming to Netflix as a children's series.
Well, here's something
who's going to write it? That's
that if you've watched cooking shows and you've watched panda shows, they'll customize a film just for you based on your viewing history. I mean, if I was working at Netflix, that's exactly what I'd be working on right now. And they won't have to copyright it, because it'll be like tissue. It'll be like Kleenex. Like, they don't need to copyright it. It's just for you, and they can make you 40 more tomorrow. So who needs to copyright it?
I've talked to filmmakers who have movies on Netflix or shows on Netflix, and they get notes from Netflix about, hey, this is currently what's hot on the algorithm. Make sure you have hoverboards in your movie or in your show.
That sucks so hard. Sucks so hard.
It's ridiculous. I do
And the worst
describe.
part is it worked. It got him the biggest views on Netflix. I mean,
See?
I also describe it as kind of a randomizer AI. If you've ever played a video game where you create a character, you know, everything down to their hairstyle, gender, you know, build, whatever. I don't want to spend an hour building a character. I can push the button randomize and I get a bunch, but it's all based on other assets.
Yeah.
And you've been at the forefront of this before you came on. We were talking about a story that was in the wrap about how CAA, you know, the biggest agency in the business, is archiving their clients.
Oh yeah, they've had a metaverse division for a long time. I mean, CAA as an agency is lovely. Like the agents are fantastic, and Brian Lord, it's a real testament to his leadership, you know. But a while ago, agencies started diversifying. They're not wholly dependent on this 10% from clients. I mean, you can, you know, we can go down the list of ways they diversified themselves. I think WME might own a large construction machinery company, things like that, right? And they own the wrestling, World Wrestling Federation. I may not have that term right. So yeah, this is one of the ways that they're diversifying. And when you think about it, if an agent is going to get 10% off of every job, if you can double and triple book an actor because you're sure maybe they are live on the set somewhere, and then on 2 other sets, some film production company has rented their digital double. I mean, why wouldn't an agency do that? I don't agree with it, but I understand why they're doing it.
It's kind of crazy. By the way, I don't know how much time we have you for, but we have like 3,000 people watching live.
Oh, cool. Hi.
A lot of questions from our audience. They're, are you familiar with the term simp? Do you know what simp is? If you're simping for someone,
like a simpleton?
No, like they're simping. They like you a lot. That's how I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, enlighten me. No, I don't know that term.
Okay, well, you'll become familiar very soon.
Okay.
As we go, I actually met a guy who did what they call breaths and efforts for Tom Cruise. He would breaths and efforts. So in his action movies, he's running, breathing. He was the guy that mimicked Tom Cruise. I feel like those jobs are going to go to AI in a way.
That's already happened.
Yeah.
And also speaking other languages, because if they clone your voice, they can just have you speaking another language in your voice. So dubbing is,
And even my friend John Bailey, he does Ryan Reynolds. He did most of his VO work for Detective Pikachu. You're probably not familiar with that. I happen to see it.
But if Ryan Reynolds is voicing it, why isn't Ryan Reynolds doing
I'm saying, because again, you're double booked. He's booked doing something else. John Bailey does a perfect Ryan Reynolds. They just hired John to come in with Ryan's okay, which is
of course, I'm sure.
bizarre.
Yeah,
Now,
that's definitely gone away.
I don't know how much you know about Film Threat, but it's been around for 40 years. I started when I was a kid covering indie film. I feel like we're on the cusp of, through your festival and you speaking out and just looking at movies like Terrifier 3, whatever you think of that movie, I don't think they used AI. Pretty sure it was all practical effects. I feel we're on the cusp of an indie film revolution that could be maybe only comparable to the early 70s of American cinema. Is this what you're feeling?
Yes, but something new. Like, even though it would be great to return to that, I think it's something that's even new, even more newer, something different. And I think it's going to have a lot to do with, look, if the audience is going to respond to AI, especially where they get to put themselves in, like, oh, tonight I want to watch, Star Wars and put my face on Princess Leia's body, like that, right? Face replacement, being able to, for an upcharge, be able to put themselves in some of these customized, your panda cooking show, be able to put yourself in it. So I think people are going to be enamored with this at first. And then they'll start to feel sick about it. And they'll also not like the way AI is infiltrating the rest of their lives, like denying them coverage. I was talking about this over a year ago, denying coverage through an AI algorithm at insurance companies, which we've heard a lot of recently. And also maybe they get fired. Maybe their children are getting wrong ideas because, and I think this is child abuse, they brought AI into the school systems, generative AI, because there's a difference. But then, so I think they'll get to a point where they'll go, and I don't want to, for my entertainment, I don't want to be tricked anymore. I want to know, is this a person I'm looking at or not? And I think they'll start to reject AI. You know, this is after they've been enamored with it. They'll start to reject it, and then they'll start to reject not only things that are knowingly made with, or they know are made with generative AI, but things that even look like they're made with generative AI. And they'll want something really real and really raw and really human, something that's very obviously made by humans. And I think that will include story structure that's really different. You know, I think we're going to see more avant-garde kind of projects. I think people are really going to respond to that. And at the same time, you'll have filmmakers that are going to have to differentiate themselves from that which generative AI can do faster and cheaper. So they'll have to do work that AI can't do, that generative AI can't generate. They'll have to do something that's really unique. So then you have these two things meeting together at the end of this, you know, on the other side of this inferno. And then also something special, I think, you know, God or the universe or magic or whatever you want to call it is going to pull into it. And that's where it's going to be something really new. So similar kind of direction is what you mentioned, you know, the French New Wave or the 70s in America and filmmaking, but something different, something new on top of that.
Well, I think that Hollywood has lost the plot as it has become more data driven.
Yeah.
The humanity in Hollywood has been lost. We constantly have conversations about Hollywood would champion blue collar workers. We're the heroes. Norma Ray. I mean, Clint Eastwood with an orangutan driving a truck. And if you think about it, Star Wars was about a farmer, a trucker, and a war veteran. You know, I mean, Han Solo, the trucker, it's like they're just blue collar workers. Blue collar workers are not the heroes anymore in stories. And I feel like Hollywood has been completely unable to tap into the zeitgeist. There are so many things in the zeitgeist right now. There's a great book that David Lynch wrote called, you heard of this, Catching the Big Fish?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's about where ideas come from, catching the big fish.
Nice.
David Lynch, I go right down a rabbit hole watching his interviews, but I feel your festival represents that. You mentioned human stories. That's what's missing, and you can't do that with technology or AI.
But it's not even like, you know, we've heard a lot of like, oh, we want to hear your story. What's your story? I don't give a fuck. I mean, it is, and that's something that, like, you know, my business is unfortunately embraced so heavily a few years ago. Want to make sure everybody's story gets heard. Who gives a shit? Are you a good filmmaker? I mean, and is your story the great film you're going to make? I mean, maybe it is, but I'm glad Chloe Zhao didn't feel that way. Yeah. I mean, Chloe Zhao seems to be like very focused on, you know, the Midwest, or I mean, West, the Rocky Mountains, you know, this whole area. And we're all better off because of it. If she was only relegated, it's gotten so ridiculous. Also, the box checking, really, it's ruined film festivals, I think. Mm-hmm. So you got film festivals that were the champions of the new, right? Where else were you going to see like really new stuff coming out? It was going to be through film festivals. And you also had like the premieres of big films. Okay. And that has increased a great deal. So then you have to the point where now we've got premieres of really big films, because you get a lot of earned media and you don't have to spend money on advertising and you get all this exposure. And that's your de facto premiere, instead of throwing the red carpet, having a red carpet premiere and spending so much money on advertising. And then you've got the box checking. You've got your films like, someone's an albino Eskimo with one leg with two gay mommies, and this is her story. And you go, okay. Or the filmmaker has those attributes. But are they good? Is it a good film? Or is it just in there because of that, which is heinous? I mean, you're doing the audience a disservice. You're doing that filmmaker a disservice. And you're betraying what your whole purpose of the film festival. And then you see film festivals embracing AI, generative AI. And then you're just like, okay, I don't know. What are you now? Are you a festival of film? Or are you, I don't know.
I mean, where does the audience play into it in terms of
exactly? Yeah,
are they still going to make movies for us?
This business has never been more out of touch, like you guys were saying. It's never been more out of touch with. I don't mean you got to be in touch with what it's like to live in Kansas. I mean, you got to be in touch, and the film business's entire financial success has been reliant on this. You got to be in touch with what is missing from society at the moment. That's what you're going to give them then. That's what you're going to supply them. And they've always been really good about this. But in the last 10 years or so, horrible at it, because they're chasing this tech model, which is scaling, which is not the entertainment business's DNA. But I cut you off. What were you saying?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was thinking that it seems like the studios are really going for, movies that will make $500 million. Yeah. And I remember Cord Jefferson at when he got accepted his award, his Oscar for American Fiction. He talked about, if you're going to spend $200 million a movie, why not spend $20 million on 10 movies, or 50 on $4 million movies? What is it about Hollywood that seems to, where they're addicted to these $1 billion projected revenue budget films?
I'll tell you. So let's say you spend $100 million on a film, and let's say all in, your P&A and your production, it's all $100 million, right? And then you make $100 million. So you bring in $200 million. You just made $100 million, but you spent $100 million. But that doesn't matter. So now let's say you make $10 million films, and they all make, oh God, I'm not going to do the math right here. I need a paper for this one. Okay, let's say you do two. I'm going to make it easier on myself. Let's say you make two $1 million films, two $1 million films, and their profits tenfold. So you made 10 times what you spent on it. Now, how much did you make? $18 million.
Yeah.
Well, what are you going to make $100 million, or are you going to make $18 million? That's what they're looking at. They'd rather do one effort in one particular direction, even though it's insanely expensive, even though you're only going to double your money. Maybe you won't even double your money, but you're going to make $100 million. And unfortunately, a lot of actors and agents think that way too. If they're going to put the same amount of effort into a lower paying project than they would a higher paying project, then why not just do the higher paying project, even though maybe it's a piece of shit content?
Yeah, the problem is at that budget, you then can't hire an up and coming filmmaker to make that movie.
I mean, you just hit the nail on the head on one of the problems with the film business, and the reason it's collapsed. And not even just new stars. What about new filmmakers? Mm-hmm. What about where's this next batch? Where's the P.T. Anderson, Steven Soderbergh, Wes Anderson, Quentin Tarantino? Where's that back? Where's that new, you know what I mean? Where's that new collection? And I think it's going to come through, in this new area. And it's going to be really new in different films. I mean, it's nobody wants to see. This is a problem with new filmmakers now. Like I'm sometimes a judge on some of these, or on the jury of something where we're looking at new films, new filmmakers, and I'm like, God damn it, you guys you're trying to do it right. This is an audition to do content. And I don't blame them really, because like you look at what succeeds in what's left of the business, and it is, like you guys just said, like, align yourself to the algorithm and make these films that.
So you're saying they're playing it safe. They're playing it safe
for that. They're saying, look, I can do content. Will you hire me? And I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. You'll be taken care of. You'll be taken care of financially. You got to trust that if you're called to this, and maybe you're not, maybe you're just trying to make it as a filmmaker and you're not actually gifted at it. But if you're called to it, and if you are, because you can't do anything else, your whole life won't go in any other direction. Then do the film you're supposed to do. You will be taken care of financially. You have to trust that. But you've got to go in the new direction. If you're called to that, you got to go there, or you're going to have a miserable life. You're going to be fighting against that, and that rubber band is going to keep pulling you back and pulling you back. So just stop fighting it and make the film you're supposed to make.
You mentioned box checking earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that box checking really killed the Sundance Film Festival. It was one of the most important discovery festivals that I attended since the mid 90s, and it blew up, Robert Redford's creation. And it is so been killed by identity, putting the focus on identity first over content, where I want to hear, where is the story of a transgender, lesbian, I don't know, check the boxes that can touch someone's heart. It's not as if, I don't know why I said trans, but like we've seen trans characters in movies in the past that were beloved and they connected on a universal way. I'm thinking of John Lithgow's character in World According to Garp.
Mm-hmm.
That was the 80s. But they can't seem to tell these stories in a way that has mass appeal on a human level.
Well, see, because that's it. Because that's exactly why films endure, what you just said. If you have something at its core, and every great film, I don't care what it is, comedy, drama, horror, it doesn't matter. There's something at its core that resonates with all humans, whether you're watching it in the 1930s or you're watching it in the 1960s or you're watching it in the future, right? In 2035. There's something about, because who's watching this? A human. And there's got to be some core thing that is common for all humans. And that's what when you're just focused on this sort of box checking stuff, you miss it. You're not, because you're not trying to make a great film. You're not being faithful to the film. That's the biggest violation of those films. You're not trying to make the best film you could possibly make. I'm sorry, you're not. If you're all focused on, look at this. There's so many core filmmaking rules that you violate in doing this. First of all, you're not supposed to if you want to care about a character, you don't go, oh, look at this poor character. He's so hot and he's running this marathon and he's so hot. It's so hard for him. Or he's in so much pain and all this. You know what? When we look at that, we feel nothing. If that's all you're showing us, we feel nothing. But if you show, oh my God, look at this guy. He's going to make it. He's determined to make it happen. And yes, he's really hot and he's about to pass out. And yes, he's in pain, but he's going to make it. And here's why he's going to make it. And this is what he has at risk. We're all in. We're like, yeah, I've felt like that. This is a metaphor for this thing that happened in my life 2 years ago, whatever, right? We're all in. But the box checking stuff looks at the morphology of somebody, or it looks at the results of something. It's not looking at they're not trying to make a great film.
Yeah. If I don't see a movie that I don't see people that look like me, I'm not going to watch that movie. Yeah.
I think on that note, Alan, we've talked about this. I feel it is so superficial and narcissistic that you need to see someone who looks exactly like you in order to identify with the story, because I believe all storytelling, whether it's films, movies, TV, fiction, comic books, video games, you identify the point is to learn empathy, get outside yourself and identify with that character's story, and that's what's missing.
Or as you know, or that it's all like a metaphor,
right?
You know? I mean, shit. I don't read Moby Dick and go like, "Where are the ladies?" You know, you look at it, and you go like, "I'm Ishmael," or "Holy shit, I have felt like the captain," you know, or "I'm the whale," or you know what I mean? It's all. I personally have never had a problem with it. I've never looked at a project, 12 Angry Men. Where are the ladies? We got to have one that's all women. I mean, okay, you do that. It's a totally different film. You want to have 12 women in there arguing about something? It's you're talking about something else completely different. So you want to make that completely different film? Okay. But I don't know. I'm not into remakes and reboots, and
it's gotten ridiculous.
Do something new.
Before, we have so many questions from our audience. They are, and I don't know how long we have you for. Let us know how much longer you can hang out.
I'm good for at least another half an hour.
Oh, that's great. Okay, awesome. I want to get to, before we get to our chat comments, we'll do as many as possible. I want to touch on the pushback you've gotten. I mean, you've been, I think, mischaracterized. I mean, we've seen this in the media. I feel like you've gotten pushback on social media. I mean, I love that you don't give a fuck. I love that.
I'm curious, like what you're referencing.
Is it the AI or is it the most recent film critique?
I've been attacked online since 2008, and prior to that, in regular media. So,
okay,
which attack?
I'm not referencing one in particular necessarily, but I do feel like you get pushback on your ideas. I just wonder why aren't there like hundreds of you saying this? Are people living in fear now to speak their minds?
But that's pretty vague. I mean, if you can tell me something more specific, I can better respond.
Well,
I've been attacked for almost like everything. So which one?
Well, I just see it almost every post you get pushback.
Well, I'm curious because you did the series of film critiques on election response videos. Yeah. And was that an especially, were you especially hit harder on those prior? Because you kind of reveal an opinion that people.
I'm not really, honestly, I'm not seeing what you guys might be seeing. That's why I'm looking for. I mean, I don't feel, it's funny. I feel like I've been hit less now than ever before, though there have been a couple, people that seem really angry that the whole cancel era is changing because now they're not going to have that as their drug of choice.
I guess one was about your brother and
go ahead.
Having differing political views.
If you even have that.
Yeah. I mean, well, read it to me, Chris. What do you help me out?
I don't have it in front of me, but someone asked
here.
Yeah, like who your brother voted for, and your response. I remember we talked about it. You just, I love my brother.
Because, I don't. Oh God, who people vote for is so. It's not even on the list of reasons I would or would not hang out with you. I mean,
exactly.
There's so many other reasons I would not like somebody, and that's just not on the list. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care.
I mean, wasn't that what Family Ties was? Was the liberal hippie parents and the Reagan Republican son being able to live in the same house as a family and have different opinions?
It's hard to remember that far back, but
Yeah.
I mean, that was normal life before that, like unbearable cancel 8 years. It was like that. I mean, you don't have to go back that far. Go back 2010 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Let's first of all, we so appreciate you doing this. We've been talking about you and your opinions, which have sparked so many discussions over the last more than a year. I just appreciate you. Want to get to our comments here from people watching. Alan, if you would, we'll start from the top.
Yeah, from Matthew Hammond. What does Justine think about the studio system? Did they bring in Ivy League or business grads with no film background to run the studios?
Yeah, Matthew, that is a good point, but they've been bringing in MBAs for decades, right? So I don't think that's been the biggest difference. I think what happened was they started doing, we were talking about earlier about you're going to make $100 million film in order to make 100 million, right? And they started just focusing on that, with the exception of any other types of films. I mean, for the most part. And that's when the streamers came in and they were like, oh, where could we fill in here? Oh, we'll do these, more prestige films. And then they soon dropped that after because they, revealed their carpetbagger personalities. And then they just went after genre content. So what happened at that point where those guys were making a lot of money, and by the way, in a very different way than the film business makes money. Okay, so this is the first mistake that the studio CEOs made, I think. They looked at that and they're at, these retreats, Bohemian Grove and all of that. And they go there and there are these like gangly guys with their hoodies, their American Apparel hoodies with the white drawstring, and they're gadding about, awash in millions and millions and millions of dollars. And I think the studio heads were like, over my dead body is this fucking guy going to like make me seem like a chump. And so they decided, and I'm like, oh, I wish they hadn't made this decision. I wish they'd just doubled down on their business model. But instead they're like, no, fuck you. I'm going to have a streaming service too. And okay. And I'm going to beat you at your own game. Okay. But if they have access to your work as well, like what's your competitive advantage at this? And that, Matthew, I think that's why they blew it in this last 15, 20 years is, well, not quite 20 years, but like say 10, 15 years is because they started chasing that tech model. Now, if you're a company that's evaluated and you have, you've got Mark Andreessen money or whatever, then I guess you can do, and also this isn't your primary source of income like Apple and Amazon. Come on. Yeah. You can't play that game. You can't play that same game. So instead they blew up their whole business model. Studios blew up their own business model to chase after that. And now it's just all fucked. Like people can't make a living like they used to in the business. It's done. So that I think was their biggest mistake in recent times.
Matthew has a follow-up.
Oh, sure.
Does Justine think the studio system can be saved, or did they kill the golden goose by abandoning theaters and physical media for streaming?
I don't think you can. I think it's in tatters. I don't think you save it. I mean, I think part of it is because they redirected so much money into setting up. I mean, God, for a while there, we were seeing every week, every month, like reports of how much money they were losing by setting up these streaming models. And maybe some of it is working for them, but again, one of the parts of the Hollywood system, you had a little bit of scarcity. You had a little bit of, this is only available now. This is only available in theaters for, it used to be like 6 months or something, and then you got into like, it's available in theaters for 2 weeks, and then we're going to put it online. And you're like, all right, so you've trained people to not go to the movies. They're saying, oh, people don't want to go to the theaters anymore. You did that. The CEOs trained them not to go because you're like, oh, by the time you really hear about the film, because marketing is so difficult now because everything's so fractured. People are like, oh, by the time you hear about it, it's either online already or it'll be online in a day. So I think rather, to answer Matthew's follow-up, I think rather we've got to recreate. And I think one of the ways we're going to recreate a sort of system is a little akin to the French New Wave movement in the 60s. And that is, you know, they had all these film societies, right? And the critics within those film societies became some of our big filmmakers like Godot and Truffaut and Alan Resnais and people like that. So what I'm going to do over on Substack now is, for all my subscribers, I'm going to have films on there that are, so my films, I mean, if you have a lot of investors, it's kind of tough to get around getting an MG and really doing proper distribution. But I'm going to have the films, the 2 avant-garde films that I have that are going to be in the Credo 23 Film Festival. I had no plans to put them online. I was just going to wait and see when I could have them in theaters and only show them like that, because I don't want to throw them online because it's like throwing it into like a giant Costco bin. I also feel like, anyway, this is a little bit of a tangent, but part of art, whether it's paintings or books or films or whatever it is the context. How are you presenting it? How are you treating it? And to just throw films online, you're not that's one of the things the streamers did. That's why they call it content. It's just stuff to them. Anyway, so I'm going to be putting my films on my Substack and create like a little film society there. And like maybe it'll be available just for a week, one particular month. And then maybe I'll take another filmmaker and I'll say, hey, do you want to put your film on? We'll work out some sort of payment thing, you know, based on subscribers that come in because they want to see your film. Do something like that. Because all the models that we have for distribution and stuff, they work if you're actually making money on this stuff. But the distribution models don't work now. The piece that the streamers take, it's too much relative to the amount of money you need to make back. The distribution deals you have with distributors, their marketing fees, their sales fees, their distribution percentage, and then what you have to pay them back plus interest. That can work if you have your $1 million film in the theater and then it makes $6 million. But it can't work if you've got like a $250,000 MG, you got a $250,000 MG, and you've got to pay that back or they've got to collect that back with interest before you get, I mean, I don't know, not to go into that. That's much more detail than I'm sure you have time for. But I think we need to get into like sort of a new route. And like the Credo 23 Film Festival, it's going to be in one location at the American Legion Theater, Post 43 on Highland Boulevard, just down from the Hollywood Bowl, which is this awesome Spanish style building with this 460 seat theater that's stunning. And we're just going to be there for 2.5 days, just like talking about films and doing panels and watching films. And maybe you're having a drink in the lounge and your friends in the theater watching a film. Maybe they'll run out and go, you got to come in and see this one. It's great. Every pass gets a seat to every film. So none of that. And I know other film festivals are bigger film festivals and they have to have them in multiple locations and they only have a certain amount of seats for each film. So you have to like sign up quickly and make sure, even though you have a pass, try and get tickets to each one. But this is like, if you've got a pass to the Credo 23 Film Festival, you got a seat for every film. You want to see it, great. You want to go get a drink instead, fine, but it's there for you.
If you need a sponsor or someone to help, we're here.
We want sponsors.
Okay,
because
we're
here's
sponsor.
the thing. Okay, I'm going to send you all the information, Chris, because that's another thing I wanted to say about making money. So with, going in this new direction for filmmakers, there's going to have to be new means of distribution. And like I said, film societies could be one thing. Like, oh yeah, if someone's a subscriber on Racetrack, which is my Substack site, then you're in that film society and you'll be able to see all these films. Maybe someone else will come up with something different. Maybe they'll do like you'll buy a film society membership to some place and it's a physical theater. And every month there's a screening or every couple of weeks or something, and you get to go because you have a membership card. But also I was thinking, when artists play Coachella or when artists make objects for Burning Man, they get paid by those festivals. So I was like, what if a filmmaker didn't have to stress getting distribution? Because most films don't get distribution that play at film festivals. What if all they had to do was get into the film festival? You just had to be a good enough film to get in. And then what if you made money there? So all the proceeds from the Credo 23 Film Festival after cost are going to the filmmakers. And I don't mean going to the winner. If you got in, you won. So every single filmmaker, every single film is going to get a grant from the Credo 23 Foundation, which is all the money that we had left over after costs. And trust me, I'm trying to keep costs really low so that I can give the filmmakers as much money as possible. So yeah, I want to bring in as much money as possible. I would love to give each filmmaker $100,000. That would be, and then imagine, I mean, someday maybe it'll get to that point where I'll have big enough sponsors where I'll be able to do that. But imagine if that was true, you could just do the theater rounds, the film festival rounds, and maybe you make enough money to make another film. And then you go do the rounds with that film, and then you make enough money to go do the next film. Wouldn't that be cool?
The festival circuit, in a way, is kind of distribution in and of itself, in a way.
Right, but you don't make any money.
That's true.
You have to fly yourself. I mean, most of the time, right? You got to fly yourself out and put yourself up, and make your posters and make your whatever you're going to hand out there, and pay for the DCP, and it's not free, but you do it in hopes that you're going to get I mean, yes, you want to connect with your audience, but you do it in hopes you'll get distribution. But then what if you don't?
Well, we've got more than 30 questions, and maybe
let's do rapid
minutes.
fire.
We'll do rapid fire. Okay.
I won't answer so long.
All right, Tom, go for it. Chris, ask her to prom.
There's no prom. Thanks.
No action required for $14.99 Australian. I'm making a comedy series with a big studio, but I'm taking it indie as they want me to go woke. I'd love to talk to Justine about directing. It's about DEI in diplomacy, where I spent 20 years.
DEI and diplomacy. Can you send it to my agent or my manager? If you look them up on IMDb, I'd be happy to look at it if you send it that way.
That's the correct way to do it.
And by the way, I am looking. Okay, so my avant-garde films I can make for no money, but my there's a film I've done wrote called Panda Man that's a satire on 2020 and the whole woke army. So if you have any listeners who are investors, I would love to get a few $1 million to do that.
There we go.
Okay.
John Thomas for 10. Ms. Bateman, I'd love your response regarding your brother having different political views. My sister is widely different from most of the family. I love my sister.
Yeah, great, John. I mean, right? Why not? I'm sure you have different tastes in music too. Like, who cares? I mean, shouldn't that be something that's interesting about each other?
Yes.
Exactly. Red French Moon for 2. Sorry about my random rant on anime localizers. LOL. I think that's for something else. Hey, you for 5. I think one thing that feels really great is laughing my ass off. And with the modern state of film / TV being so PC and woke, I don't get to laugh and escape the world.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, hey, you, that's why I wrote Panda Man. Because I was sitting there in 2020 going, this is fucked up. This is fucked up. Like I could feel the mob mentality like growing and taking foot and taking root. And that was the only way I could get through that. I wrote actually 3 films that year, 3 scripts, because I was like, I can't fucking be in this reality. I have to be in this other reality so that I can like have some perspective and laugh at it. All right, hit me with another one.
All right.
Some of these might be, I don't know. Here we go. All right.
Albert, not a retro for 5. Justine, is it true that Michael Gross and Michael J. Fox would prank the girls by farting on your hands? Off topic, but gross and funny.
I never heard of that. If you were on the set and witnessed that, I don't know. It was unbeknownst to me, and I was there pretty often.
So it was a fart-free set.
I don't know what that's about.
All right, okay. Brian Smith, love the discussion.
I thought it said leave the discussion. Love the discussion.
Love the discussion.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, Dean from Australia for 5. Good day. Good day from Australia, Justine. I just wanted to say I still haven't gotten over Can You Feel Me Dancing? And I am not okay with this. Much love.
Dean, I got something special for you. So this was a TV movie that I shot for anybody who is not familiar, where I played a blind girl. Okay. Day 4 of the shoot of the film, and I kind of didn't want to. Okay, I was in, but I kind of didn't want to. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So day 3 on the shoot, I go to open the back door, and it's one of those pane doors, has all these small glass panes in the top, and then the bottom is wood, right? So I turn. It's a turn and push in, right? So I turn and push, and I pushed on the glass that was like old, and I mean, it just went through like water. I didn't even. And I pulled it back out, like blood all down. So I cut here. I cut this nerve. There's 2 nerves that come into each finger. I cut this nerve, and I cut here. If you can, here, and then here. If you can see this little horseshoe. So I went in and out. Went to the hospital, and they did their surgery and everything. And I was like, You're just going to recast it. I mean, that was not intentional at all. But I thought, okay, well, you'll just recast this because the whole thing was that dancing, as Dean knows. And they're like, no, we'll make it work. And I was like, okay. Not that I didn't want to do it. I just thought, okay, well, now I can't do the dancing thing because it was partner dancing with him. So they made me a little a hard plastic brace here, like clear plastic brace. And then they did, some makeup over that. So now you're going to go rewatch that, Dean, right? And you're going to notice that my hand is I never make a fist. Okay. This finger is like this through the whole film on the back of his dancing. So that's your little tidbit.
All right. Rob Weisenhunt for 2. Great interview. Loved you in Californication.
Thanks.
All right. Rob Weisenhunt says Catching the Big Fish is an incredible book. So seconding that. Knee pain. Member for 4 months. Justine and Gina should do a podcast together. Gina Carano, he's saying.
Oh. I'm actually going to be doing a show called Get Real on. If anybody remembers back when with one of my good friends, Kelly Catrone, we did a show called Wake Up and Get Real. That we did side-by-side Skype conversations. This is before Zoom. And so now I'm going to be doing something just called Get Real. That's going to have different, I'm going to do like each month. It's going to be, alongside somebody different. So something will be coming to my Racetrack Substack Film Society there.
So I believe then this is a recommendation to get Gina Carano on the show. Aaron Sharman for 10. Justine, I grew up with the British Men Behaving Badly and loved its humor. What was it like working on the American version, and how did you find adapting it for a different audience?
Well, I wasn't the writer adapting it, so I imagine it was quite challenging. I mean, it's always going to be a challenge when you're just handed something that did well somewhere else. So, but I will tell you, because at that point I was just acting. Rob Schneider is one of the funniest people I've ever been around in my life. There's a level of funny with him in person that I don't mean this as a criticism at all, but I don't think it's ever really been captured on film. Mm-hmm. So he made me laugh so hard, like really my stomach would hurt. And then Ron Eldard is such a great actor. So it was a nice experience for that. But then, it was a nice experience for that. And things didn't really come together well enough for it to endure the, following seasons. But that first season, and Terry Garr played my character's mom. So that was a real honor to meet her. And, but yeah, Ron Eldard and Rob Schneider were terrific.
Awesome. Pilgrim Media for 2. Would Justine ever work with Ezra Miller again?
I don't think I've worked with him. Have I worked with him?
No.
Pilgrim,
probably no, I guess.
I don't think I've worked with him.
Yeah. Oliver Laveri Farag for 2. Money from a festival. Justine is my hero.
Yeah, why? I mean, right? Money is coming in from all these. Give it to the filmmakers so they can make more.
Chris B for 10. I miss being excited about movies for the last several years. I mostly feel apprehensive about them. Yeah. Hearing Justine's thoughts on the film future has me excited. Big thanks for the insight, Justine.
Yeah, Chris, come to the Credo 23 Film Festival. We're really or if you're a filmmaker, submit something. The submissions are open for just 10 more days till the 20th. And we're really trying to find films that there's something new about it, something different. And I think people are going to be really, really happy with the films that we've picked. And I think you'll be happy to see my films too. And of course, I'm not participating in the grants, needless to say, right?
Are passes on sale yet?
Yeah, passes are on sale on the credo23filmfest.com.
Okay. All right. Midgar Ninja for 10. Hail Film Threat and Justine, great interview. Appreciate all your posts on X every time I see them. I know I'm walking away with a smile. Hard to do on social media these days.
Oh, good. Yeah, comedy and satire has been out of our society for a long time. I mean, you need to eliminate that in order for the hall monitors to have taken over like they did. So that you notice that was the first thing that got kicked out, right? So I think people are really hungry for it because you need it in society. You can't have a society without it. Even court jesters in any representation of kings in the past had a court jester. You need it.
Mm-hmm. Jeremiah for 5. Does Justine have any tips on how to innovate in the film in car expressing emotional distress about the current event space? Love her posts on X. Yeah, how do you deal with expressing emotions in cars films?
In your car, yeah. If think when you're choosing a location. Now I'm going to go into social media critique, video critique mode. When you choose a location, you have an opportunity to give people information, right? So why are you setting it in a grocery store? Do you want there to be like a domestic kind of family kind of thing there? Or why are you setting it in a bedroom? Do you want people to be thinking about sleep or sex or what? Why are you setting it in a kitchen? Do you want them to be thinking about there's preparation, there's starting, there's nurturing, there's nourishing, right? So if you're setting it in a car, why are you setting it in a car? Is it just because that was a convenient place to record? You have to think, you have to do more with your thinking when you're making a film. And if you're going to distribute something internationally, like you do when you post on social media, you're too far into the creator economy to not be thinking about things like that. So don't have bad production value.
Do gooder. All right, Aurora Uplinks, member for 6 months. I just got here. Sorry, but a bit behind. Could you just give any advice for directors or writers on how to adjust actors to the script or vice versa?
Like how to direct actors?
Yeah, I guess if you need to have them do adjustments to the script, or if you have to adjust the script for the actor.
Well, so I'm going to assume Aurora Uplinks is director. So, I mean, if you're a writer, you just need to write what you want to write, and you don't have to think about actors. If you're a director, you have an obligation. Being a director is a service position. So is being a producer. Your obligation is to that project. You got to pick actor. So you got to know what the thesis statement is of that project. And then it makes all your decisions easy, right? Like if you're writing a paper and if you don't know what your thesis statement is, it's pretty hard to do the rest of the paper. What kind of evidence are you going to pull? What are you going to reference? What kind of points are you going to make? But you know your thesis statement, and then everything will dovetail into that. So if you know your thesis statement, your film, you know what the intention is, you know what the purpose is of this film, then that helps you to cast people who are going to help that be so. right? You make your thesis statement true. And I don't know what to say, like an actor needs to be doing that as well. An actor needs to understand the purpose of their character in the project, plot-wise and thematically, metaphorically. What is your character there for? What if your character wasn't there? You know, there has to be some purpose for it. So I don't know about adjusting. I mean, unless somebody's an incredible, oh God, what's the word I'm looking for? Unless they're great at making stuff up.
Improvising.
Improviser, thanks. Unless they're incredible improviser, no, you just do the script. Yeah, I wouldn't cater it to the actors. That doesn't make sense.
All right. Thomas Pickett for 5. Can you remember the moment that opened your eyes to what really is going on? Yeah.
Oh, I mean, the minute it started. But as far as, if you're wondering, I didn't open my eyes on November 5th. I mean, I noticed it when it began, this whole, all this bullshit, when it began. But for me in particular, when I say something about something, like or if I make a project even, whatever, like there's a timing to it. So it wasn't, so if I go to make a project, and I'm sure anyone who's an artist has felt like this, probably, you go to make something, you're like, it's just not happening, especially writing a script. You're like, it's not coming together. It's not coming together. You got to put it away. And then maybe 6 months from now or 2 days from now, you'll go, oof, I got it. It's kind of clicked in for me. And then you write it and boom, you can write the whole script in 3 weeks, which is incredibly fast because it just flows, right? So for me, I let things bake, and it's true for myself artistically, but also for saying something publicly. Like, there would have been no point to me saying anything earlier. I mean, I just would have been brutalized. How do I put this? When I say things publicly, there's a timing to it. That's all I can really, the only way I can really say it right now. There's a timing to it. And that was the timing for me personally, to say, thank God this is done.
Mm-hmm. All right. Shinatsky for 199. Justine, check out Tom Kokel. He's fighting uphill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tom Conkle.
What are these money amounts?
That's the what they call a super chat. So they pay to help support our work here on this channel, sure, and then ask questions. We've got still okay,
I'm ready.
8 to go.
Wait, given more money, do I give a longer answer?
Whatever you like. We do this every.
Okay, all right. I'm ready for the next one.
It's fun, but we didn't expect this kind of response.
Although we did, but
a little bit, yeah. Sure.
Although we did. Krizik, member for 9 months. Question for Justine. I'm a shareholder with Legion M. Is there a chance you can have a chat with them about a distribution path for you there? Are you familiar with them?
I don't know. I don't know it. I can look it up.
Legion M is a kind of organization that raises money for indie filmmakers.
It's fan funded, basically.
Yeah, fan funded. If you're looking for money, I can connect you with the founders if you want to do a project through them. They made the movie Mandy with Nick Cage. They raise millions.
Now, wait a minute. For everybody, you've got to see Mandy.
Yeah.
Mandy it's not my, I'm not like a big horror, I can't even put it in that cat. There's a lot of blood and there's a lot of violence, but I can't even put it in that category. This is Panos Cosmatos. I think I'm saying his name right.
Yep.
What a fucking filmmaker. What a director. This guy is so fucking good. You got to watch it. And it's just everything about it. I can't say enough about it. That is a great movie. So good for Legion M. That's a great movie. Yeah, I mean, I've done crowdfunding before for films, and man, I just find it's like a full-time job. And then once you get the money that you get, which is, you know, it's great to get it, but you're often not getting the amount that you need. And then it's another month of like all the things that you promised people, you know, getting it all made and shipped out. And anyway, I find it to be a lot of work. So I like working with independent investors. Yeah. But, you know, I'll certainly look up Legion M and look into it. Thanks, Krizik.
And how much time more do we have for you?
Well, let's see how many we can get through in the next 10 minutes.
Okay, 10 minutes.
All right, here we go. Aurora uplinks again for 5. I'm trying to be a writer, learning animation on the side. Any tips for a new writer, producer looking to work with actor skills and interests?
Okay, tips for a new writer. The more great scripts you read, the better writer you'll be. And if there are, you know, and then, you know, it's never been easier to get them. You used to have to go, anyway, you can find them online, right? Great script, great films, right? Films that have stood the test of time. Get a hold of the script and read it. Look at how it's structured. Like really read through it a few times. See if there's any points where you kind of try to forget that you've seen it, which is kind of hard to do. I'll tell you one thing I noticed reading the Woody Allen film Annie Hall, which is such a spectacular film on so many levels. When you read that script, one of the things that stood out to me, which was interesting, is in that script, his scenes start like a quarter of the way in. Like almost every scene, and then he gets out before there's any lull. So it's almost like you're getting the center half. You're missing the first quarter and you're missing the last quarter of every scene. And that made it really move. You know what I mean? So you start noticing things like that when you read great scripts. And then take like 3 to 5 films that you love. They're absolutely top, you know, your top of list, and go look at those scripts. And, you know, I have this group called Film Club on Clubhouse, most Mondays at 4 Pacific, where you watch a film beforehand and then you come in and talk about it. And like we did I Am Cuba last week. And we're doing actually Wizard of Oz next week. I'm like, I know everybody's seen it a million times or in a couple of weeks, but to look at like, why is it successful? To really try and break it down. Anyway, that would be my suggestion.
All right, Dakota C for 999. I live in New York City and work as a commercial production manager. Although I am connected to Below the Line, I don't see any way to submit scripts for funding. Any advice for finding funding?
I would do, especially if this is your first film. And if you're already a production manager, okay, you know how to put a budget together that is manageable. There's a great book by the Duplass brothers called Like Brothers. And it talks about their relationship as brothers, but it also goes into filmmaking with what you've got on hand. You got an iPhone, use it. You've got, your father works in a mattress factory, fucking use it. That's your set. You know, get permission to go in there on the weekends, or like whatever you have access to, you know, go back to your grammar school. I mean, if you want to set something in a school, go back to your grammar school and see if they'll let you use one of the rooms, you know, on the weekend or something. Like find because locations are going to be expensive. So find locations that you have access to. Find people you have access to that you think would be good actors. Like, do what's on hand and see if you can just make it for a manageable amount of money. You know, edit, you know, get, what's my favorite editing? DaVinci Resolve. You know, edit it yourself. Like, there are ways to get it done. You know, you're going to have to feed people for sure. You're going to need insurance for sure. Try and get piggyback insurance off of somebody else who has a, you know, an annual insurance, production insurance account. You can make it for what you've got, is what I'm saying. And if it's some epic thing, think of creative ways to make that true. You know, look at Godard's Alphabet. I think it's called Alphabetville.
Alphaville.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's a sci-fi, and he used like regular objects like this. But in Alphaville, in the future, what is it? Oh, it's actually a way that you hear things, right? You'd use it as you know what I mean? He was using regular objects. So get inventive about it. Don't use AI, or you're never going to know what you can do as a filmmaker. Never. You'll stop right there.
And I love the Duplass brothers, and Mark Duplass gave a great speech at South by Southwest. He said, for a philosophy for indie filmmakers, the cavalry isn't coming.
That's it.
That's it.
You're it. And especially now, there is no film business. There is you. If you're called to be a filmmaker, you're it. Figure it out. And if you need more, you can, try crowdfunding, and if you might have some people in your life that have $10,000, $5,000 that can help you out with it. But, especially being a production manager, you know how to do that budget. You know where you have to spend the money and where you don't. You can do it.
So don't move to Hollywood, you're saying?
Well, what?
Yeah, exactly.
For what? We never went back to in person. I'm telling you, we never went back to in person. My meetings are on Zoom. I'll have some company will want to talk to, I have a general director's meeting, and they'll go, here's the Zoom link. And I'll go, aren't they based in Burbank? I mean, why is this not in person? Oh, do you want in person? Oh, we'll ask them. They offered a Zoom. So I'm telling you, there's no point. For what? You can do it.
All right. Curtis Nelson for 999. Justine, thanks for the chat and your dedication to the art of storytelling in film. Can you give your opinion on what I see as the lack of traditional romance and sexuality in film storylines today?
Do you mean heterosexual?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I pointed that out. It's weird.
I mean, look, it's fine. You want to show homosexual or trans relationships or whatever, like that's fine. But I agree with you. It's you can't have that in every single film. I mean, you could, but here's the thing. If you're trying to make films for the population of the world or the population of the United States, let's keep it simple. Is that the majority of relationships in the United States? And more importantly, is that what you want to make a film about? Maybe not. So yeah, I think it's gone the way of the box checking. I think there was like a general fear. I mean, my God, how many people are we talking about? Like the noisiest people on social media. Maybe there were 100 of them, 1,000 of them, 1,000. I think that's big. 500 of them, and that's what dictated what got made.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous.
And they didn't see the movie anyways.
Tell me about it.
Gorilla Biscuits for 5. Would you mind asking Justine if she has been writing screenplays her whole life, or is it something she took up later in life, and why?
I've always written, and maybe that's true for a lot of people, like short stories, poems, stuff like that. I've always made stuff, like primarily collages. Like that was like as a kid, right? That was if you said go make something, that would be my go-to thing. And then, I'd write short stories or something like this. But then it wasn't until I was, gosh, how long ago? Mid-90s, I don't know. And I was like, well, why don't I give it a go? So Gorilla Biscuits, if you're thinking about writing a script, just get a copy of Final Draft and start writing it in that format. I'm telling you, you'll go, oh, I can do this. But I highly recommend, everybody's got a different way to write scripts, but some people just like to start writing. I like to write it out sort of as a short story. First, I want to make sure it all sort of tracks. And then I'll write a treatment where like very specifically each scene and what is going on in each scene, like what's the purpose of each one of these scenes? Because if you can't explain what the purpose is for it, the audience is going to wonder too, right? And then sometimes you write separate page of notes about each character, like where they start and where they need to get and what their background is, or the relationships between characters, these two characters, these two characters, these two characters, these two characters, and where that relationship needs to get. And then this is just for me, and then I braid them together. If it's like for Panda Man, this film I was talking about, the satire, that has a lot of different components to it. So I really had to do that for that one. And then, yeah, and then writing the script is the fun part if you've done that work first. And then, like I said, other writers write differently, but that'll really do it for you, I think. If you just like get final draft and just start doing that format, just pick that Warner Brothers standard template and just start putting stuff down, and you'll go, oh, okay. And then get into the more complex issues of structure and all. But yeah, give it a shot.
All right, Shanatsky for 199. Any idea how film/TV became an identity echo chamber?
I think it was just fear. I think it was fear of, because if you remember back, we had companies being not just boycotted, but canceled, for lack of a better, and all companies became terrified of that. And professionals, executive, like anybody, right? And the film business was not exempt from that. And so, when they say, oh, I can't believe you made this film, it's ableist, or I can't believe, this is sexist, this is, there were so many eyes on it that I think it seems like as an entity, it just went, oh, okay, let's make sure we're hearing everybody's stories. Let's make sure we're, we don't want to be on the chopping block, which is a very, very bad place for any business and any artistic endeavor to get into. As a very bad place, because now you're not giving what you're supposed to give society. Now you're giving them what they say they want, but they're saying they want this out of a fear-fueled controlling attempt, and now you're off your track. So I think it was that, out of fear.
You're just getting a lot of love in here. People just
thanks,
saying
Scott.
things like, Aurora Uplinks, thank you for answering so many questions. Here's a good question, Alan.
Can you recall when a movie first made you go, oh, wow, you can tell any story and make it amazing? For me, it was Truffaut's The 400 Blows.
Well, I don't know that that's true, Chris. I mean, Truffaut, he's very gifted, I mean, I'll tell you, I'm going to answer this in a different way. The first film that I saw where it's still my favorite film, it wasn't the first film I saw, but the first film I saw where I was like, fuck, I want to be in this, not in the film. I didn't mean in the film business. I want to be in this world. And so it's 8.5, where you're like, the music, the pace of it. And funny enough, if you were to pitch that, what is it about? This guy doesn't really know where he's going with his career. And so he goes to like this health farm and he like sort of reviews his life. Right? Is that a good pitch?
Yeah.
But it was just Fellini's just so talented. Anyway, that's a fascinating thing about film, piece of art, music. You can go, it's somehow with this collection of notes or this series of shots and the music that accompanies these shots and the things people are saying and the way the camera's moving, somehow it just creates this whole like plane of existence or environment or country or something you can go into, and it's perfectly preserved. This is another reason I loathe generative AI. because they can go back in and change all that stuff and change all of it's never been easier to go back in and customize it for you because you love comedies, African-American comedies. So let's go make a whole new batch of films ready for you. We're going to go back into all these comedy films and just change everybody's skin color. Boom, done. Now here's Animal House, but everybody's African-American. Okay, repurposing films like that. But anyway, so something like 8.5, I can go watch it over and over and over again. I can not watch it for a year and then go back in and watch it. And that whole complete perfect world, or perfectly itself, I should say, I just step right into it and nothing's changed. I mean, I've changed, but so that's one of the films I think of when I think of like experiential films, like you are giving the audience an experience, you know, and you're not just like telling them a story, but right.
David Smart says, shout out, please love her and Family Matters. Sorry, I meant Family Ties. I'm so drunk.
It's like, what are you drinking?
So there you go. Let's see. Here's an interesting question here.
Yes. Hi, Justine. I was watching a YouTuber call Movie Wise mentions how blocking is a lost art in film and wanted to get your POV on why that is.
Oh, you know, I think there's a lot of people that aren't, they're not gifted at filmmaking and they're getting by. They're doing it as a job, but they're not, you know, in every profession you have that, right? Hopefully you don't get a doctor for whom that's true, right? You want to get somebody who's like, oh, I hope you were called to this. You're not just doing this as a job. But yeah, I'll tell you one that was like, that's spectacular at this. And that, I mean, there's a lot that are great at blocking. I mean, first of all, I don't know the last time you saw a Charlie Chaplin film, but holy shit. This guy was so good at blocking, so good at it. Especially comedic blocking, which is hard. It's hard to, because if you're just even a half a second off your timing, you lose it, right? But one film that comes to mind is, I think the director's name is Lossy, The Servant. That one, God, it gives me chills, especially, you know, they say most scenes are about love or power. And those scenes where there's an exchange of power, where one person has power in the scene and then the other person just does one thing. They do one move of their shoulder or they sit up on a desk or something like this and the whole fucking power dynamic changes. It's fantastic. So check out that film. I'm pretty sure it's called The Servant. There's about somebody's manservant in the 60s British film.
All right. Henry back to play for 499. This is one of your best interviewees. Bravo. Thanks, Chris and Alan. Cheers, Dudes.
And we've gotten through most of the relevant questions. There is a lot of simping in here. So, and what
does simping mean? Like,
it's when the chat loves you and kind of, you know, they're just saying how much they love you.
Oh, well, that's very nice. Thanks, everybody.
Leo Cody says he sent an AI Michael J. Fox with a message for you. Do you want to see it?
No.
Okay. No. Won't show it.
No. Thank you.
That violates the spirit of what we're talking about.
Yeah. I think we want to stay away from that. So, yeah, no, I think we've gotten through. Here's an interesting, just a comment from the,
okay. Vera Tenuta for 20 pounds. We have already hit the stage of diminishing returns. That is to say, because so much has been scraped from the internet to make these models, rather than being the sum, it is always going to be a derivative in return.
Wait, wait, who is that? Well,
this person, it's continuing on with the
this content then gets uploaded to the internet for lazy profit, which then becomes part of the new data sets we're trained on, thus becoming even further diluted and derivative.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I want to read Vera Tenuta. Okay, somebody sent me this article. God, God, where was it even? Hold on. Oh, it's in Petapixel, petapixel.com. It says earlier today, Petapixel exclusively interviewed a Shutterstock director. Oh, because they're talking about using, AI and how this is especially alienating to photographers, right? And it says a Shutterstock director who sought to reassure photographers by saying photographers have a vital role to play in the future of AI technology. Eventually, generative AI will always need fresh content if it's to remain relevant. It's Soylent Green is all I have to say.
Yeah.
So like, fuck off. Like, I don't post my photography online. I mean, I'm not a professional photographer, but I take photos of things that I think are interesting. And I used to post them on Instagram all the time. And then when I saw that everything that was public was probably scraped, so all my stuff's probably in there, but I pulled it all off after I knew that Meta was, building their model. And now I'm just going to be posting that for the subscribers on my Substack. But I think I think we might see a move to, artists just not posting their stuff online anymore. I mean, that's why I'm not going to put my 2 avant-garde films online, except on my Substack behind a paywall, because I mean, look, I'm just one tiny data point amongst billions and billions, but I just don't want my work to be in the blender. Like, I mean, enough of it is, right? Enough of the acting work I ever did. Violet's in there, I'm sure. And like, I am the copyright holder, but I don't feel like taking on a lawsuit right now and trying to, doing all the work that you would have to do to file a suit. But my books,
Yeah. Is that what they call working your way out of a job? Okay. Mark D with a C for 5. I'm sick of all the creative apps that keep asking me to use AI. No, thank you. I have a brain.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was doing this one talk. Hold on, I just got to check something. I was doing this one talk, and they said, and I always get this question like, don't you feel like, sorry, I just have to check one thing. Don't you? Oh, got it. Don't you feel like there's some way you would use it as a tool? Don't you want to use it as a tool? And I said, I have this tool that I've been using that's been really phenomenal. And yeah, it's my brain. So I agree. And here's, every artist I feel like is a tube through which, God, the universe, magic, whatever you want to call it, comes through into society. We're the tubes that's through which society gets all this stuff. So if you decide you're going to use AI, now your tube is closed. You're nothing. So as much as it seems like it would be, for anyone who's considering it, as much as it seems like it would be easier or it would be faster, or look, I can create this incredible world. Well, the way you were going to create that incredible world on your own is now going to be completely lost. And one of the things we love as film consumers, we love hearing how they made stuff. Like the shot in the opening shot in Sunset Boulevard, where the camera's at the bottom of the pool and you're looking up past the body that's floating in the pool through the water to the photographers outside the pool. How'd they do that? Back then, did they have underwater cameras? No? You know what they did? They put a fucking mirror at the bottom of the pool, shot down to the mirror at the bottom of the pool. They got the reflection of the shot up to the photographers. So how much do we love hearing about that, right?
Yeah.
The AI, nothing. How'd you make it? Oh, I put in a prompt. Oh, because we humans, we want to see what other humans are doing. We want to know that you put some effort into it. Because when you make a film that's great, there's a lot of love that goes into that. And the audience feels that. And if you're just using AI, but I agree with you about that's why like Adobe, I feel like has completely fucked themselves. Like first it was like you pay to rent it for the rest of your life instead of being able to just buy Photoshop. That was years ago. But then to use all of their editing programs now, it's just so infected with AI. It's a fucking bummer. But DaVinci Resolve so far is, you don't have to, but I get it. I think it's because they put so much money into, putting it in there and they want to get their money's worth. But yeah, not that many people, or maybe some people just don't want to use it.
Here's a question from Rumble. I know you're way beyond the time you agreed to come on.
I'm okay so far until this person I'm meeting texts me.
Okay. Here we go, Alan.
All right, caveat ties for two. Do you think any use of AI is valid for new creators trying to get discovered, i.e., make pictures for social media attention, voice AI to read novels, etc.?
So you're talking about like using Mid-Journey or something to make a picture for social media?
Mm-hmm.
For what? You can make a picture? You can make a picture? I mean, maybe you wind up making something that's so much more interesting. Maybe you wind up cutting pictures. Maybe you wind up printing out pictures and then cutting them out and then scanning them. I mean, I don't know. No one's going to pay attention to it if you've made a photo out of it. In fact, most people are like, oh, this is AI shit. I'm not looking at this. But voice AI to read novels, do you mean to rent out your own voice to read novels? Then you never own your voice. You never have that. You never get that back. Somebody else owns it. And then, yeah, if you're trying to, a new creator to get discovered right there. First of all, I don't know what that means. A creator.
Like a new filmmaker or someone wanting to get into it but doesn't have the resources.
Are you a filmmaker? If you're a filmmaker, make your film. If you're a writer, write. If you're a painter, paint. If you're a photographer, take a photograph. If you're somebody that does satirical commentary, do satirical commentary. Like, don't call yourself a creator is what I'm saying, because it's dismissive. It's like this, blanket statement about anybody who's posting anything online. So if you really, and if you're trying to get discovered by whom? You are your own channel. Like, who would be discovering you? Like one of Chris or, I don't know if you guys mentioned before, like the cavalry's not coming. Nobody's coming to discover you. So do your work, and people will notice if it's interesting enough.
There's also a creative atrophy that happens when you over rely on AI.
Oh, it's just shit. Yeah, it's JustineBateman.substack.com.
There we go. I have it up on screen. We'll share the link in this interview.
Yeah.
So there you go. Thanks, AJ Hawk. That's mostly the questions that directly ask you. Here's a comment here.
Oh, you can make me read it. Chuck McDaniel before. How do you really know you're really in love with Jason?
Oh, that was some doing PSAs or PSA shows, public service announcement shows, was really common way back when.
Yeah.
Like even NBC did a whole series of them called "The More You Know." It had that like skull,
right.
Through the sky. I mean, I don't remember anything I said in that thing. I hope it was useful to you, Chuck. I hope now you're really in love with whoever.
I think we got through most of the direct questions for you, but I just want to thank you because you have been a topic. Your commentary has been a topic of so many great discussions we've had here on this channel, others as well.
Flattered.
I'm not sure if I'm sure you're not wasting your time and searching for yourself on YouTube, but you have been the spark of so many productive debates about what's happened in Hollywood. I've seen the industry begin to falter. I've seen fewer and fewer people going to the movies. I prefer how the French do it. They don't count box office. They count how many people attend a movie.
Well, I mean, that's true, right? Especially when you're comparing, success. I mean, to me, I don't find financial. I mean, you want to make enough money back that you're paying back your investors and you're making a little something, but I don't count. To me, box office is not success.
Yep.
But along the lines of what you just said, when they're comparing the financial success of a film now with financial success of a film, years ago, you're like, well, what are you even doing? You have to do what you just said. You have to count how many people came, because they were charging $2 back then per person. You know, so even if it made $100 million and then you're like, well, we can adjust for inflation. No. You have to adjust for the price of the tickets back then, because you were just raising the ticket prices in order to say we made more money than 3 years ago. It's like, you have the same amount of people coming. You're not, and also get out of the idea of scaling, for fuck's sake. We're not a tech company. You want to scale so that you can sell it and get out. That's that model. So you don't do that with a film. It's not the same thing. You have to be faithful to that film. You make that film. The success is that you made that film the way it was supposed to be made. Like for me, Violet, even if one person saw it, it was an absolute success because I was faithful to what that film was supposed to be, period. And you'll never, if any filmmakers are out there, you're never going to be able to live with yourself if you thought, well, I'm going to bend this film. I mean, if you're just a director for hire, sometimes you don't have a choice. But if you go like, I'm just going to bend this film because I think this would appeal to a bigger audience and blah, blah. And let's say you do that. And then let's say it does make more money than it would have otherwise. You're always going to know that you fucking betrayed that film. And another possibility is probably more likely, which is that you abandon your faithfulness to that film in order to make it for a wider audience or whatever you think whoever else you think you're going to capture, and it doesn't make a lot of money. Now you've got two problems. You fucked up your film in order to do this, and this didn't have the result that you're looking for. So just don't, if you have control over your film, do the film you're supposed to do.
I want to remind people before you leave that the Credo 23 Film Festival is in March next year. I have to ask, Credo 23, is that like Dogma 95?
It's something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
It started in 2023, and it's just like
perfect.
Because you see that the streamers were all in on AI, the studios were all in, and then when I saw the film festivals were all in on AI, and I was like, man, how is the news supposed to come out? Let's go into the news. How is the news supposed to come into our society? Because you're not going to go to AMC with your new avant-garde film and get them to play it. So I just thought, well, how hard can it be to throw a film festival? So I started doing it. And, I mean, listen, no shade to other film festivals because they're much bigger. I'm just doing the Saturday, Friday night and a Saturday and a Sunday. But we've got, our sponsors on board so far are Kodak and Final Draft and this foundation out of Washington, D.C. that facilitates conversations about AI called Fathom, or Fathom rather. And also Keslo Camera, which is like one of the best camera rental houses in California or the world, maybe, but definitely in California. So we're like really excited about, and the films were brought together great. And if you look at like the people that are looking at your films, you look at the, not the jury, but the programmers, like these are the kinds of people you want seeing your films. No offense to other programmers, but most of these people are in the film business or they are photographers or there's something like they understand, not to say other programmers don't, but there's something different about a filmmaker looking at your film versus a programmer. Some programmers are fantastic, but there's something different about a filmmaker looking at your film.
And I'm pleased to announce that Film Threat will be a media sponsor of the event. We will help promote it.
Okay.
We will be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We will. Film Threat is on Rotten Tomatoes. So if the filmmakers are looking for reviews, we can review the movies. So we'll talk offline.
Okay, that's great. Oh, that'll be terrific. People will be really excited about that.
So we will do everything we can to support, and we have the means with our channel and website, and we'll do everything we can because your work has been so important. And I love seeing you turn up in the news and
it's great. I'm just like, another reason I already said about generative AI is like, I'm so pro-human. I'm so, the fascinating things that are going to come into our world are going to come through us, through people, not through all this other stuff. And also with film. So like everything I'm saying is just, and also if people, watch Violet. Like, if you are prone to making fear-based decisions and it's like taking you off track, that's kind of a map to get from a life that's rooted in fear-based decisions to a life that's based in instinct-based decisions. And then this last post I did on my oh my god, Substack. I was gonna say Film Stack. On Substack, kind of gets into more of that. And I know I use some words in there that might rub people differently. Like I'm using words like God and the enemy and stuff like that. But if you just look at what I'm talking about, if you keep getting certain buttons pushed, and I'm saying all this to say, if you can get rid of your buttons, if you can look at what your irrational fears are at the base of those buttons, and you can be button free eventually, like Corduroy, remember the bear who lost his button? If you can be button free, then you will fully be yourself. And particularly as an artist, you've got to have this. You've got to get yourself, you owe it to yourself and you owe it to all of us, right? To be as button free as possible so that you can do your work. Like I'm so excited about what is going to happen now that all these structures are going to be broken up. So if you've got any like fears that keep you from moving forward, like there's certain thing that people say that always takes you off track, I just encourage you, like read that post on Substack that I put and I'm like for your sake and for I want to enjoy your work, you know? So endeavor to get rid of those irrational fears that are serving as an anchor point for these negative ideas about yourself that you might be holding or that other people say. And you're like, you know, that person said that, you want to get to a point where somebody can say it and you just hear like the parents and the peanuts, like wah, 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 like you don't really hear them. And I tell you from experience, like it works. So that's everything I'm saying, Chris. Thank you for your kind words. But like everything I'm saying, my book, Fame, Face, Violet, everything I'm saying online right now, everything is like, I want other people to be the most them they could possibly be, so that like, it'll be like if you had a disco ball, it was like the ball that, or the disco ball has more facets, but I was going to say the ball that drops on New Year's, you know, is all it's just all light bulbs all around a ball. Mm-hmm. But like, imagine like a disco ball. And if every one of those facets, every time somebody gets closer and closer to being more and more themselves and they get rid of, you know, you work it, you have to write it out, get rid of, you know, and the way of getting rid of the irrational fears is you got to expose it. Like, don't judge it before you write it. It's going to be irrational. Just let it live, let it breathe rather. And then it starts to erode. If you expose it, it starts to erode, and then grab onto the opposite. Like if you're afraid you'll never get a job, grab onto the idea that you will be provided with a job. Just go trust that. That's where the God or nature or higher power, whatever it is for you, it doesn't matter what you call it. That's where it comes in. You're like, I'm going to trust that this higher power or God, whatever it is for you, is going to provide something. And the older you get, the easier that should be for you, because you can point to more things in your background and say, I remember that time, that worst case scenario, I thought that was going to happen and it didn't. Or that time that worst case scenario did happen and it worked out pretty well. Like, this other thing happened instead that wouldn't have happened otherwise. So you have more things to point to. You have more evidence to prove that. Anyway, I just say like, so the more people that like get rid of their buttons and really become themselves, the brighter this whole disco ball is going to be. And like that, I want to see that. Don't you? I want to see, you know, things popping and happening and new ideas and all this. Like how exciting would that make life?
I love that. I love that sentiment. You say human. I think some of the things that have hurt Hollywood is becoming too corporate. It's too corporate.
Sure. I mean, you can go back.
Yeah.
Remember in like 2006 or 2007, I think, Ad Age did a great graphic of all the consolidation, the media consolidation that had happened at that. I mean, it's even greater now. but the media consolidation that had happened, you were just going like, oh man, there's like 8 companies. This is bad.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's more and more corporate, like you said. And also you have only 8 POVs, right? Instead of there being many, many, many. Yeah.
Justine, thank you so much. Please open an invitation to come back. Please come back right before the festival to promote it.
Sure.
If you would. And then I don't know, you're great. I'm sure we're going to be, you know, talking about more of your posts on social media. So
okay. Thanks so
great.
much, guys. And thanks for everyone
you.
who's online watching.
Great. Thank you. Okay. We'll see you again soon. Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye. Let's see.
Awesome. That was great, Alan. That was great.
That was great.
During the last half hour, I've had to pee. So
I know.
I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm going to get back with Justine about this festival. We are going to be a sponsor and promote it. I will return while you read the
remaining super chats that
start from the top. I'll be right back.
Yeah, and I'll answer it as if I was Justine Bateman. Albert,
not for her, but I'll be right back.
Albert, not a retro for 5 Canadian. Follow Tina Yothers mentioned the lads pulled that gag in an interview many years ago. So maybe they just did it to Tina and not to Justine. And then Albert, you follow up with one more thing. Whatever happened to that chick Julia? Something you were in a movie, Satisfaction, with her. She was a very pretty woman. Anyways, all right. I barely remember Satisfaction. From Tom, for €2, Amanda cooking with pandas. Make it Netflix. Duke Dresden became a YouTube member. Thank you for coming on board. Yeah, we got member videos. Also, hop on to our Discord. Let's see. Here we go. From Graph Web for $2. In the name of all that is holy, hashtag cancel Disney Plus. Let's see. Oliver Levery Frog for $2. Don't worry, the next batch is here in the FT chat. Film Threat chat. JPTRX for $5. They are focusing on the boxes instead of telling a good story. Yeah. And not only that, even if they had a good story, they're ruining it by checking boxes as opposed to being organic to the actual story. David Smart became a YouTube member. Thank you. And became one. And not only that, you are one. I became a member again. Yay, Chris, you rock. Bill Buttlicker for 200 rupees. RRR is being made into is made 55 million, and India sent an actual orbiter to Mars in 75 million. Chris, a new RRR making documentary is going to release this month.
I saw that post about the documentary. I cannot wait. That's on my radar. Thank you for that.
Hope it's all about that dance number, though.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Murasaki Monkey for $5. What was it like to play Lasseter's wife in Psych? How do you think she would answer that?
I think she would love it. You're going down the line. I'm going to unstar these.
I'm going down the line.
Okay.
Veritsunuda for $2. Great discussion. 1 for posterity. Thanks, peeps. Yes. Check it out. It will be reposted in the Film Threat interview channel. Tran Farkington. I get what you're doing there. For $4.99, Justine need to be on Rogan to speak further about AI and the death of creativity.
Yes, 100%.
Bet that will happen one time. Thoughts on fitness with Nigel Mayer for 24 months. More of this, please. Film Threat doing what it does best.
We a lot of the short interviews we do are with filmmakers that have a movie that's about to come out, and we really want to help promote the movie. So we bring them on. We have a interview I think on Friday. So we've been doing that. I think what we'll do every once in a while is bring on a figure in entertainment for a long form interview like we just did. We'll do that more often since it seems you like it. So thank you.
Yeah. Aurora Uplinks for $5. For Alan, if you had to be in an action horror film which would it be? And please describe your character and what you would do through the story. I would probably be in Halloween, and I'll be the Asian kid peeing himself in the corner.
Alan, do you love Refrigerator?
I love Refrigerator.
I couldn't find the Ming clip.
With the good one or the
there you go.
More relevant one? Albert, not a retro for 2. That was a reference to Julia Roberts. Oh, is she in Satisfaction? Henry back to play. Long time since seen it. For $4.99. For me, it's simping or risk a dumb question. I'll simp.
Well, by the way, the person that was doing the simping was me. I feel like I was the one doing the simping. I just whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, for us family ties aged kids. Aurora uplinks for 5. To Chris, same question. What action or horror film would you play a character in, and what would your character be doing or going through for your part? See, you said action horror for me, and now you get to choose between action or horror.
I would be in Dawn of the Dead, the 78 original. I would be in the shopping mall, and I would be the I would be a SWAT team member taking out zombies and saving people. But I'd be dressed like a knight. Like with so I couldn't get eaten.
Yes.
You ask a serious question, I'll give you a serious answer.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps it up. Oh, wait, one last thing. Leo Cody during the show actually sent an AI message, which you saw her bristle.
I know, yeah.
I was like, let's not. I'm gonna show it just to you guys. I don't. Maybe we should stop doing this, but here you go.
Think people, is Justine amazing or what? I love my sister.
Well, there you go. That's
sure. I don't think that would have gone.
I don't think that would be appropriate. So, Leo, it's not appropriate. Hey, I want to say thank you to Atomic Lori, Glenuccio, my partner here, Alan Ng, and thanks to our mod, Lord Thoth, and thanks to all of you, your great questions. It was 99% respectful. Maybe the one about the fart, maybe not so much. But I did ask her. We did get to that one, but we will be back on Friday with our normal review show. We're talking about Craven and Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. Alan will get his popcorn bucket. Can't wait to see it. Right, Alan?
If they still have it, I'll pick it up.
Yeah. And so thank you, Lord Thoth. Thank you, everyone there. We will, since you seem to like this, we will do more long form interviews. Maybe we'll talk about who you, okay, here we go. Albert, not a retro. So proud now for 2. Thank you for that. We got it in. We got it in. Tell us who you'd like on the show. Maybe Mark Duplass, someone that a longer interview, like an hour or 2 of some figure in film, or I mean, like, look, we're not going to get like, big celebrities, or maybe we would, I don't know.
It's happened before. Let's just say that.
But someone who would be good. We'll do that. Alan, you got anything? Wait, we have stuff to do.
Yes.
We're going to a screening of Wicked.
I don't think I'm going now.
Why?
Because it was for the wife, and I don't think she's up for the trip.
Okay, so all right. Are you bummed out?
Part of me is like, I'm glad I'm not driving across town to Century City.
Here's what I'm going to do for you, my friend. I will film the Q&A and I will upload it for members only. It'll be a Q&A with Cynthia Erivo, who plays Alpha.
Ariana Grande.
What's that?
Ariana Grande.
Oh, Ariana Grande will be there. I'm going to film the Q&A and I will upload it for members only. But I'm doing it not just for members only because we appreciate our members. I'll do it for you, Alan. I'll do it
for my wife. For my wife.
I'll do it for your wife, Alan. That sounds weird. I said that out loud. Don't repeat that or make a video of what I just said. That's it today. We're back on Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Thank you all. Appreciate you, chat.
Sorry to we do have a message, super chat. I don't know. Yeah. Nicholas Vargo, what about Patrick Reed Johnson? He would be great.
He has been on the show. Yeah. Look on our interviews channel. But we'll come up with a list and we'll start reaching out. Maybe we do this. Our channel is evolving. And so we'll if you like that, we'll do it more. So
I think Todd Phillips might be a possibility, maybe.
I doubt he would. I mean, like
he owes you.
He's been very kind to me, but I don't know that he would do an interview like this. But we'll talk to. I mean, maybe get one of the Duplass brothers. They're like, I love those guys.
Or Roger Avery or Quentin Tarantino.
That Rogan interview is amazing.
Oh, is
that the interview on Rogan? Fascinating. Thank you, Matthew.
Oops.
And I was really impressed with how Justine, one, was very honest, two, gives no fucks.
Yeah.
And then finally really took every question seriously, which made it go much longer.
Yeah.
But that's good.
She wanted to give an earnest answer.
I feel the same way. So follow Justine Bateman on her Substack right there. Justine Bateman. She's very Google. She is Googleable. That sounds bad the way I just put that. Please don't repeat that. So that's it. We'll see you later this week. I'll see you tomorrow, right, Alan?
Yes, I will be there. It's on my schedule.
We are doing we're doing a
mini meetup kind of.
Little impromptu meetup, AMC Burbank 16. We're going to see Craven tomorrow. So that's it. Take care, Alan.
Let's get out of here.